Hello and welcome to Mzansi back. It is that time of the night, and I'm hoping that we are coming to you live as we were planning to do so. It is that time where we have to deliberate on what happened in court. But before we do that, the questions will be asked. Didn't we mention the fact that this statement that is coming is a correction of everything that was not included on the second one? We did, and we're here. Here's us. So, and again, just caution, we're not going to speak about some things that are outside for now of our, I would say, our radius. We would just speak as to what happened in court.
Yes, please.
Anything else, you will find anywhere you want to go and watch. But for now, and there's a reason why we do that. It is not to run away from things that are happening, but there is a huge reason why we do that. Just to remind you, we confine ourselves to public opinion, to public information. That's where we end. SABC 1 for now. We will maybe continue to break other stuff that we feel that needs to be brought in front so that people understand what is going on. Because sometimes it is difficult to make someone understand. You need to give them a solid proof. But that, as it is, we leave it at that. And greetings to everyone. I know that I might not be heard, or I might not sound like I'm saying something, but I am saying something. We're going to discuss what is happening in this case currently. So this is one of the episodes that we've been bringing you, and it is like that. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, it's anonymous. We don't want smoke.
No.
We don't want smoke. We can't afford it. So yes, guys, welcome back to the Mzansi Reality YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us yet again for another deliberation on the Senzo Meyiwa trial. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, you know you are loved and appreciated here. Thank you so much for covering this trial with us. It's been a long journey.
Yes.
It's been a very long journey, and it seems like this journey is not going to end anytime soon. And even if it does end, it's not going to end with the expected outcome from the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
It seems like it's been crafted and shaped in a direction that we never saw coming, okay?
Or maybe we saw coming.
But it's going to be hard to digest. So emotionally, we must prepare ourselves.
What does Mzansi do? It prepares you for worse.
Yes.
Just in case something beautiful happens. Oh, glory to the one above, then, if that is the case. But for now, where we are heading to one direction. There's no other way around this. One direction.
Yeah, but I hope it gives you a clear picture of what we've been trying to convey over the last years since the trial started, year or two, that the justice system in the country is in tatters.
Whack. That thing that people pride themselves on.
Is in tatters.
And we're still going to cover AKA because it is getting more interesting in that we are drawing similarities one way or another.
I know some people hate it, but
it's difficult.
Happening.
It's difficult to go through this because one, you are accused of being biased.
Yes.
So then I ask a question. In a situation where you have a biased situation, how can you not be biased while commenting on it? I don't know. even if you do, for those who did stats, even if you build a model that has bias variables, that whole model becomes bias. That's how I analyze it. That's why when we analyze it here, we are not ashamed to say that there is going to be an element of biasness, because the whole situation is biased on its own.
Oh,
It's not something that you look at and you feel like, this can happen and that can happen. So you will not be a proper analyst if you are going to say anything else is going to happen other than what we've been predicting and it has been happening. And we will actually be giving those who are doing whatever they are doing the power. Once we start balancing it, then they will say, whatever outcome that comes, it was unpredictable. No, the outcome is predictable. So the analyses are such that we are predicting the outcome that is predictable.
Yes, we're shaping it. We are giving it an understanding and acceptance to say that we should not all be surprised when it happens.
No. I'm sure now you're getting more clues of what we've been speaking about, but maybe we've been speaking in riddles. You don't understand why we say some of the things we say, but obviously we cannot go further than that. We are not what we call whistleblowers. No, we are not whistleblowers. We must be differentiated from whistleblowing to what we do here. We got what is in public space. We use that to make our analysis.
So yes, Magistrate Vivian Cronje, who took down accused number 2 Bongani Ntanzi's alleged second confession on the 24th of June 2020, was next on the stand, and she revealed the contents of the confession. Ntanzi made the second confession on the 24th of October, or allegedly made it according to his version at Boksburg. So Baloyi continued to speak in Afrikaans. Can you believe it, you guys?
And it was justified. And you tell me that this law, you tell me this law.
He continued the audacity to continue in Afrikaans as a prosecutor in a case of public interest.
It's not even about Baloyi. It's about the judge fighting tooth and nail.
Yes,
about it and trying to make it seem as if it's normal. Because now, let me make an example. The defense might be calling certain people, right?
Yes.
And that's a big might. We're not saying they will call people.
We're not saying they will.
We don't know.
Might.
But might. When they do that, and then they conduct their interview, their examination
or examination
in Venek, the record will not be able to capture that.
But
and I've heard that
with an interpreter.
I've heard that in the very same court. I've heard that there was an advocate who spoke in Venek. He was lambasted. I don't know who said that the record won't be able to
pick up what you are saying. There was a time.
So these records are selective. Yes. They pick a certain language that is part of the official
English.
Part of South African's language that we have 11 languages. There is only 2 languages that these records can pick.
Can you imagine pre-1994 the courts were like this? You understand? Afrikaans, they were conducted in Afrikaans. Can you imagine what our ancestors and our parents and great-grandparents, those who had a brush with the law during that time, what was happening? You are forcing us, Baloyi and Ms. Cronje, to envision that, to go back to that. When we thought we are moving on, we thought, this is a democratic country. Hi, we still have to be reminded that Afrikaans is above all South African languages. Above and beyond in 2024.
There you go. Not only in universities, even in our courts. Our courts can properly understand what is said in Afrikaans. But dare you use a vernac?
Yay.
You'll disturb the record.
Yay.
And don't tell me that it's because that person used the vernac after speaking English, because that's exactly what Balo was doing with this church and has been doing with this church.
Yes.
They are interchanging the language. Zulu, Afrikaans, English, Afrikaans, English.
And I have no problem with someone who's from the Eastern Cape, who's been speaking Afrikaans all their life. They come and they testify, and that I'm willing to testify in Afrikaans. I have no problem with that. But I have a problem with a magistrate who most of their work is done in English.
Who write cases, the judgments in English.
It was so bad.
In fact, who took a statement in English?
Who took it in English? The confession was taken in English. She was not speaking in Afrikaans to accused number 2. If she did talk to accused number 2, then now in court she shows up and says, I want to speak in Afrikaans. Since when? It's so disgusting. I don't like what happened today with regards to the situation, and I never will, and I'll never accept it.
Some of us has accepted it.
I can't.
We have accepted it, and I thank the institutions where we come from. I thank them in advance, because what was happening and what happened, what they did is to tell us that the importance of this language is still as relevant as it was before you were even born. Okay? And then some of us accepted it, because some of the classes were conducted in Afrikaans, especially. And then some of the classes were conducted in English. And those are the classes that we are supposed to attend.
The ones in Afrikaans would get 100% pass rate.
Oh, they passed very well. It's not a secret. It's known.
We are traumatized by this language.
No. I'm not going to be standing here and like, I'm just saying, when the earth gives you something, I learn to understand and adjust. So what happened today in court is not new to me. I'm used to it and I understand it.
Okay. That's good for you. But some of us, it's very difficult for us. It's very difficult. But then we move. The judge even asked if the statement or confession is written in Afrikaans, and Baloyi said that it was written in English when he read the statement. So Baloyi continued to literally tap dance in Afrikaans, despite the last time being told that himself, as a state attorney, he cannot lead a witness in Afrikaans. Imagine if the defense was to conduct their examinations in isiZulu.
I wish they had more time, this defense, just to play around, man. When they have to cross it, can they use their languages? Not isiZulu only. Those who are speaking Sesotho, can they use Sesotho?
You want to see how the judge will react when you get up there and say,
because you want the person you cross-examine to understand
Baba
properly.
Sandiso, siyajabula ukuthi umile wazo thulula ubufakazi ngecala lakho. Kuzoyenzakalani? What will happen?
No, it's okay. I'm telling you, this is exactly the reality of South African. It needs to be seen. Where else can it be seen?
Baloyi are part of the problem. They are.
I'm going to know other languages. It's a good thing. We always fight about people knowing each other's language, and it's fine. But one thing that I applaud these special languages, I would call them special languages. They never try to understand any of the 11 languages except for 2. And that's a good thing. But when one tribe understands 2 languages, yay from us, hey, you guys think you're special. That's
Even
exactly.
here, I've had people come at me saying I should stop speaking in Venek. They don't hear what
We
I'm
understand,
saying.
maybe because we have an audience that really does not understand
Exactly. So I don't hear what Afrikaans is being said and the dal van the Afrikaans.
No,
I
but
don't
this is
hear
a South
it.
African problem. You cannot externalize it
Okay.
beyond the borders of South Africa.
I'm just making an
This
example.
is our problem here. And we cannot punish the audience at large that is probably not from here for what is happening here. What happens here,
But
it needs to
look
be
at how
solved.
I adjust. Look at how I try to accommodate. Look at how I am trying
No, but
tooth and nail to
your
speak
cry,
English.
Your cry is in the wrong platform. This platform
I'm making an example.
is for yes, but is it relevant to what is happening currently? No, because what is happening is within the boundaries of South Africa. What is South Africans doing? Nothing. The only thing we do is to fight against each other, the other ones, minus these two languages.
You'll have the tap dancers who do the do's, and then us who are like, but this should not be happening.
Do you
This should
understand?
not be happening.
Yes.
So we are always the problem. We are always the problem, or us who think we are in a democratic society.
Where someone has to understand all these languages.
Then we are called the problems because we are saying, you know what, we can't be doing this in 2024. What are we doing?
And guys, yes, for sure, there is going to be buffering, and I can see it. Before you even tell me, I don't know. You know, maybe this internet is still down.
Do you think?
I don't know.
Today we are a little bit early. I wanted to switch off this one here.
I'm
Maybe
trying
it
to
will help.
understand why would so much internet, as I'm busy testing the speed, guys, for you, because that's what we do for you guys. Trying to understand as to why would all this.
So guys, I hope this will help. Try to reduce some of the devices. Hopefully we can come back and work as normal. So I don't know if I
Yeah,
should
we are
continue.
working as normal.
Okay, guys. So now, even on this confession, some parts were redacted when she was testifying in the trial within a trial. So today, some of those parts were revealed. Mshololo finally stood to object to Baloyi examining in Afrikaans, but the judge said that he does not understand the objection. The witness approached Mr. Baloyi and said she would like to be led in Afrikaans. If that's the case, then it's only fair that the accused also be led in isiZulu. Okay?
Can you go there? Some of you who are still gonna go there and choose that you wanna
My
be
lawyer
led
can hear my language and understand my language. Can I please be led in my language?
Can you? The frustration is that Bontanzi were there, people who are said to have elementary school.
Yes, she's well educated.
Borata had to first speak in English. Okay, I understand maybe the issue of Orata might be that problem of language barrier, maybe again. But Ngomezulu, for example.
Do you remember the Mr. Anonymous caller that we had?
Mm-hmm.
They were onto something. There's something very dodgy here.
Hey, that guy called and left.
There's something very, very dodgy.
He called and
the
left.
relationship between those two is very sus. Well, she read the statement that she wrote, and it said, I'm informed that the deponent, that I'm a magistrate and I am not in any way involved in the investigation against him, that I do not work with the police or any other person in this case, and that he has or can speak freely without fear in my presence. He's informed that if necessary, he will be afforded protection against any irregularities, and I will soon as possible have any irregularities investigated by senior police officials. Isn't this interesting? And yet he told you that he hadn't bathed, nor received a phone call ever since he was arrested on the 16th, and you didn't escalate.
That thing is
any of
just a
this.
procedure.
You didn't.
What we are
You don't
learning
care.
from this is that you do not divulge there if your life is in danger. Just keep it simple. Don't try to be, hey, mina, because of thinking that you are telling the right person. You never know who's the right person there.
It seems like the state is not the right people to confide in. It seems that way. It's murky waters.
Who's the state? Police, everyone else.
It seems like you are not safe in those hands. Don't be fooled. I don't think you are safe.
Don't enjoy yourself. Next thing, you are telling everything. You are arrested.
Like you are in a war. Don't be too gullible like Ntanzi was over here. Move like you are in a war.
Once you are there, they put you in that van at the back there. Whether they decide to put the chains or they don't decide to put the chains like Nandipa. You see, during the weekend, from grade 12, my novel book in English was Animal Farm. I felt the need to read it again because that book, maybe we don't appreciate it as much as was. That person who was writing that book was telling us the facts about this world. Those are facts.
They just put it in an animal
They
farm.
just use the animals to actually hide
Tell
some
us
of the... Yes.
what is happening in the world. Because this judiciary, it has been taken from the world. It's not really ours. It's been taken from the world. So the person who wrote Animal Farm was already experiencing this from this judicial system that was brought here.
And the system at large, just the system in its, what do they call it, totalitarian, something like that. That's the system that guy was explaining.
So yeah, she continued to say that she informed the deponent that this is not a trial and that she was not going to adhere any charge against him. He understood this application and he accepted it as correct. His answer was yes. Do you wish to comment or have anything to say in this regard? And his answer was, I believe I need to be protected from a group of people who I was with when this whole thing was committed. Nisi objected that when the first statement was read, the court had already made a ruling that nothing that has been phased off from the trial within a trial was going to be placed on the record. But he said he was surprised now that this witness is being led to read what the court had ruled not to be read into the record. Yes, he did. And then it changed somehow, somewhere, somehow. It changed. And it was never going to be this way when Rata is on the stand. Remember, he's the one who always makes the defense read everything. Yes. Read even the unnecessary parts when they are cross-examining. So it was really not really going to happen. Baloyi then said that there was a debate with Mshololo and they all agreed that the redacted parts should be read into the record. The judge told Baloyi to continue that they all agreed that the redacted parts must be read. The judge said that he told Baloyi that what he did was very unlawful, and he told the judge that this document will now be redacted, and that is why he is having problems. He's saying that Baloyi was having problems now because he redacted some of the parts. It is illegal. He wasn't supposed to do it. It's not according to the law from the beginning in the trial within a trial. And he quoted a case in 1952, Hako. It says you can't do that. Ramasipili said that even on Friday they went through this and they agreed that the redacted parts would not be read. And the judge said today he's revoking that ruling, and he said that it's because they all stopped the judge from listening to the evidence. Well, Cronje continued to read the statement.
In a form of prejudice? Because the questioning was such that it is confined on the previous statements to only those that were redacted.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you make the ruling later on the last one. that you pick and choose.
This one has to accommodate. This one Pella is from a magistrate. This one is the more important one than the other ones. This one solidifies.
If you ask me, it's like he's briefed that this one, everything. He was even questioning whether they've put everything on record. Making sure, did you put, it took time deliberating on what was put on record. Was this put on record? And then you tell me that this court does not have eyes.
Yo. Well, Cronje continued to read from the statement, and it said, and I quote, "I believe I need to be protected from a group of people who I was with when this whole crime was committed. I was already pointed with a finger as a warning when this thing was done." I remember when I heard this, I began to sigh. He was pointed with a finger. I was still a young boy.
Oh.
I am not sure where else in Gauteng they have been arrested. They were all grown-ups at the time. I also don't trust the police since I believe they can be easily bribed. Baloyi asked her to read another redacted part, and she said that it relates to the question, who brought you to my office and for what reason? Cronje continued to read and said, I was brought because I was present when a murder was committed, even though I did not do it. The police told me to come to court to make a statement. And I also want to make a statement, and I'm happy to make one.
Wow.
Happy to make one.
The police brings you to make a statement, and you want to make a statement.
And they were carrying what, rifles?
And you are happy to make one.
And he's happy.
And you were...
And he's chained and stuff.
Chained.
And he's happy. Hasn't taken a bath in many days, and he's happy. Miss Cronje. Cronje continued to read. Ntanzi alleged the second confession. He said, I now ask the deponent to tell me in his own words how he came to be brought to my office to make this statement. And his answer was that the police called me and asked me if I know about Senzo Meyiwa's death. At the police station, it was somehow determined that I was present during his death, and I agreed. At the police station, it was determined that I was somehow... A magistrate took this confession, by the way.
And Emily.
I was at the police station, and somehow...
You know what my guess is?
What?
My guess is that you are being at the pain.
Oh, so it's happening again. Remember that problem we had a couple of months ago, you guys, where we find ourselves when you're trying to go live, the internet is not doing what it's supposed to do. Usually when the case gets, it starts to happen. So we're already used to it by now. The best we can do is to put a picture and just continue with the voice, because I'm not stopping.
You're not stopping?
No.
Right. Let me look for a picture then.
The best we can do is just continue with voice until it sorts itself out. So, guys, we are not going to stop this deliberation, okay, against all odds. Yes, I know you like looking at my face, and I really appreciate it. But there are more important matters that we need to attend to. And this confession to me, Now, this statement, Mr. Anonymous, come back. At the police station, it was somehow determined that I was present during his death, and I agreed.
Yeah.
The order of things happening that way. Is it normal?
No.
The circumstances of things happening that way, that at the police station, it was agreed.
No.
It was somehow determined, and then you agree. What was the evidence that was put before you? Nothing, Miss Cronje. This is how you all take confessions these days. And he said, I was asked by the police which I would agree to or didn't. The judge wanted another part to be included, and Ms. Cronje said that what she is leaving out, she did testify about in the trial, within a trial. So the deponent now makes a statement, and Ms. Cronje read the statement, and she said that it is written down in the deponent's own words. Written down in his own words, to me, means that he actually wrote it. But to Ms. Cronje, it means it's being narrated to her and she's writing down. That's what writing in his own words means to Ms. Cronje, a whole magistrate.
Yes.
Bese kuthiwa singakhulumi. Bese kuthiwa hayi nina ni biased. Hayi senze njani? Senze njani? Abo magistrate nabo basebenza ngendlela ehlukile. Abo magistrate are working in a very different way that we would have anticipated or expected. You know, they are changing the rules. They are doing things in a very weird manner. You know, it's like they have their own rules these days. It's all very strange. You know, this confession is like it was taken by a police officer.
Yes, that is true.
Mbotho and the ones who were testifying last week, this is the quality of a magistrate.
Yes.
It's the quality. I'm going to lambast it and I'm going to criticize it because you expect excellence from a magistrate.
You do.
You don't expect this type of situation. You expect excellence. You expect it to speak, you know? You're not expecting this like it was taken by Mbotho. No. She said that the statement was made in Zulu language and was interpreted in English by the interpreter. Cronje said that the statement was made by Mr. Bongani Sandiso Ntanzi, assisted by Mr. Dominic Mjiako as his legal representative. She said Ntanzi requests that Mjiako represent him on insistence of Ms. Ntanzi. Insistence. It's like the way they are putting it. Ntanzi was forcing, Ntanzi was insisting that Mjiako represent him in that confession.
Yes.
He was begging Ms. Cronje to please, this is my lawyer. I'm insisting that this is my lawyer. Cronje continued to read Ntanzi's alleged second confession, and it said, I used to work in Carltonville in 2014. I received a call from Veiws Ntuli. He got my number from Muzi. They asked me to come to Basotho Hostel in Vosloorus. I came to the Basotho Hostel, and Veiws called me to the bedroom. Banje mina, I'm getting lost. Who's Veiws now?
It's Veiws.
Veiws is now Veiws. Was this name given by Ntanzi?
It was given by Kwabi Uzungu.
It was given by Zungu, ne?
This is where now, Pela, you see Gucci. Actually, Ntanzi might have a point that he was actually forced to sign because the high school errors where, for example, if Ntanzi knew accused number 5, he would not refer to accused number 5 as Veiws, and then he would not also refer to accused number 5 as what we call this as Zungu, because he would know that the surname of accused number 5 is Ntuli.
Ntuli.
Yes. But you say the statement was made by Ntanzi. We're talking about simple things here.
Or you would have at least called him Nkani, the nickname that he has.
Yes. We're talking about someone who made a statement voluntarily. He makes such it's like a school mistakes, bro. Like someone who's learning law would make. You know, if Emily spoke, there is no way, and Emily knows that person, there is no way Emily is going to make such mistakes that are common as such as of those who didn't know these people that much, who needed to be refreshed and reminded, go to, oh, by the way, Lona was banban, Lona was banban. Do you understand?
Cannot be.
I mean, it's common cause. As they would say in court, it's common cause.
Well, he's continuing to say that Sifiso called him into the bedroom. And in the bedroom, it was himself, Sifiso, and Muzi. So literally, it was himself and accused number 5 and accused number 1. Whilst in the bedroom, Sifiso told me that there was a job that evening. Sifiso and Muzi left the hostel. I remained behind and I was drinking and chilling with my friends. Muzi called me to the Veiws vehicle later that evening. He was with Sifiso in that vehicle. Now, this actually resembles Zungu's testimony, in my opinion. You know,
that's what I'm trying to say.
When this
without saying it
initially happened, we were in Muzi's bedroom, he says. In Muzi's room, not Muzi's bedroom. That's what he said. But it kind of has that deja vu of Zungu's statement. The one that got shredded and got typed and a lot was happening with that statement.
Now, look at this contradiction. Dan's in his so-called confession, he says, the police called me.
Yes.
Are you there?
I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet. It's fine. Let's continue then.
He says, when this thing initially happened, we were in Muzi's room and we proceeded to Sifiso and Mthokoziseni's room and room number 1B. While we were in Sifiso's room, Carlos and Mthokoziseni Mapisa arrived. Carlos and Mthokoziseni Mapisa then called Kelly Khumalo. They told her that they were all right. We all then left in the Polo Vivo, and it was myself, Carlos, Mthokoziseni Mapisa, Sifiso, and Muzi at the stop sign. Another Polo Vivo came, and Carlos, Mthokoziseni Mapisa, Sifiso, and Muzi alighted the vehicle. I remained behind. They spoke amongst themselves, and I spoke with Simpiwe, who came in, and the other Polo Vivo vehicle. Who is Simpiwe now?
You see why we started late. It's because I was going through Zungu's testimony.
Who's Simpiwe?
Simpiwe, who came with Zungu, according to Zungu?
It was his nephew or something like the nephew Gwabeni. He referred to him as Gwabeni.
They went to Gwabeni.
Gwabeni.
There's someone that he picked along the way.
Yes, I remember that part.
Who was that person?
I forgot.
Yeah. So Simpiwe comes in that testimony of Zungu.
Oh, Ukhona Simpiwe. Even there, he's there on the statement of Zungu.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yes.
So he's saying that Simpiwe gave Mthokoziseni 2 firearms. Now, to show that this confession was everything to the state, in my opinion, they moved from saying that there was no revolver that the people in the house saw. Let's not forget how they made Tumelo Mthogo not know which firearm exactly was used, even though initially Mthogo had testified that it was a revolver, allegedly. So, to saying that there was a pistol, which accused number 3 used in another crime. Now there are 2 firearms. Now, let me guess, a pistol and a revolver, ne? I'm just guessing. Just guessing. It's a pistol and a revolver. 2 firearms.
Yes.
I'm just guessing. Then we left. He continues to say, we went to the township. Fosloras said, Fosloras, we stopped the vehicle. A call came in. I think it was Kelly, and Carlos kept on referring to this person as sisters. So Carlos got out of the vehicle to take this call, whereafter he called Mapisa, Sifiso, and Muzi out of the vehicle. Now, even those cell phone records that that cell phone expert was testifying on had no contact between Kelly and accused number 3. So this is very interesting. That accused number 3, Carlos, was getting phone calls from Kelly Khumalo. No linkages coming from Kelly's side with that number, even the business number of her bookings.
That is very interesting because according to the experts, the communication was with accused number 5, right?
Yes.
But seemingly, Ndanzi has a different version from what the so-called experts are saying. It's between Carlos and Mapisana.
That were contacting Kelly Khumalo.
If you ask me, this is like a homework half done. You know, there was no time for polishing up. Like getting an exam right, whatever, you know. This is the situation.
This is the situation.
This is the situation unfolding here. Like, honestly speaking, nothing seems to collaborate properly. Nothing seems to speak with something.
And ease. And another thing I'm reminded of as well is that, okay, they are saying Kelly Khumalo was calling and checking on them, right? Lest we not forget that Kelly's, in my opinion, focus that night was Senzo.
Yes.
And none of the witnesses in the house could say that she was busy on the phone or anything like that. In fact, her phone was on a charge according to their testimony.
Do you remember when we said, and people did not believe, initially, if you ask me, this thing was going to Mandisa's door.
Yes.
And how was it going to go to Mandisa's door? It was through Twala, the other Twala, who Mthokozis Twala. It was through that Mthokozis.
Yes.
Because you heard what Tumelo was saying there. Tumelo said
Mthokozis
was busy on the phone.
Before De Novo, but after De Novo, he redacted that part.
Hey.
But before De Novo, he was saying that he was literally throwing Mthogo under the bus to say that he was busy on the phone, and because he was busy on the phone, he could have been talking to.
That is a conclusion that one would make. So, I don't know what happened. Something just happened. Or perhaps Mandisa has more money. They are afraid. I don't know.
Nam, I don't know.
But if you ask me, my own opinion,
it was going in her door.
It was crafted in that manner.
And even in the documentary as well, how they chose to show shady images of Mandisa, and then people come to the conclusion that, you know what, she did it because there's a part there where when mentioned
it's
the
like
insurance,
smiling, laughing,
like
yes,
awkward smile-ish, and people are like, she did it. And then the fact that she was not crying at the funeral, she did it.
She didn't look like she was crying.
So even the way the documentary was made, it already planted seeds in certain people that, you know what, you always look at the wife first. My assumption...
A way was going to work.
Yes. My assumption here is that perhaps they couldn't find anything to link Mandisa with. In my opinion.
Because obviously you couldn't just
maybe
take him.
They've been trying. It looks like this was crafted in that way. Because you even remember the shade Abazandi would throw on the media interviews.
Do you understand? It was yes.
Why is
Mandisa not being looked at?
Why is she not being looked at? It was to create that thing.
And you know someone who speaks out of 10 is always going to be that
Kelly
one.
Kelly herself, when everyone finds out, you will all be shocked. Who remembers that? And
now we are shocked. Because now we should believe the story that today we are debunking. That we are shocked.
We are shocked.
We are shocked.
Honestly.
And what shocked us even more is that you are not understand. That's very shocking.
So they had a meeting outside of the vehicle and they came back to the vehicle. Mthokozi saying he took out a firearm and gave it to Carlos. Muzi had his own firearm. So Muzi had a firearm now.
Everyone had a firearm, according to
one,
this statement.
On this confession.
Yes.
Sfiso had his own firearm. I was the only one without any firearm. I had a small one in my pocket, but didn't use it. It was given to me in the vehicle. Carlos said to us, we all had to be positioned and we were all going to hit Senzo Meyiwa. Now imagine this. He had a firearm. Yet Ntogo is running there, jumping walls and whatnot. And the second intruder is the one that got chased after Togo, allegedly. And he had a firearm. He had a firearm, guys.
I still stand.
According to this confession. I man kutlaliwe South Africa la.
And one thing also that people must put it on record is that I don't know whether his statement previous it was 3 bullets.
Yes.
And then this one is 2.
This one is 2. Well, Cronje called him Majiwa. He meant Meyiwa.
That's what happens when you have to read.
Majiwa.
Read for a class.
Majiwa.
Cronje.
Cronje.
You think I was going to read Cronje like that? I was going to be like...
Who only wants to
Cronje.
speak Afrikaans.
Yeah, it was going to be Cronje for me.
It was Majiwa. It's Meyiwa. Okay. So, yeah, Carlos said to us we all had to be positioned. We're all going to hit Senzo Meyiwa. Sfiso was the driver, Muzi was the lookout, and Mapisa went to stand by the window, also a lookout for someone who might come out of the window. Carlos and I were supposed...
Was it Muzi or was it Mapisa was on the window?
It's Mapisa who was standing by the window to look out for anybody who was going to jump out of the window.
Umuzi was chilling. This is where now one should ask this question. If this statement was to be anything but the truth, how did Longwe then because they are saying there were people outside who were there for that reason and they were armed.
I ran to the park. I had my cell phone in my pocket. I didn't have my cell phone. I had actually left my cell phone.
This is where everything...
I ran to the park.
Or maybe he left himself. He forgot himself. The cell phone went out. It could be anything like that. I mean, anything is possible.
The people were on the lookout.
For exactly that reason. No one comes in, no one gets out. How did Togo survive? Yeah? The other twal. These 2 twalers.
These people at the house, man, they're being protected too much. It's very, very uncomfortable for me and for the rest of South Africans who are in the same thinking lines as ourselves here in Mzansi Reality. It's
the other one said initially jumped the wall to the neighbors. I would have believe that theory better because there were people in there. You couldn't get out of there. This is why I say the story was not properly crafted. I could believe the story that you jumped the wall. You just got out and jumped the wall because you saw that there were people in there. That is believable. Okay.
But
now you change your story.
Why did you stretch it out to run out of the yard?
You ran out of the yard. You turned the corner. Here's the statement, the so-called statement. It is saying there were people in the yard. There were not only 1, 2, or if we put the car and we assume that it was closer, 3.
These confessions are giving very much we were in a hurry. We had to do something and it had to be done quickly. These confessions are giving me personally that feeling that they were not done properly.
That's why I'm saying someone rushed them. And that someone was the change of heart. He believed the theory that they were putting on the table.
So Carlos and I were supposed to get into the house. When we got into the house, he pulled out the firearm. He ordered everyone to lie down and demanded phones and money. Carlos then gave me a phone.
Now, this is where this is fun. You are holding a gun.
Yes.
You pick the phones. You pick the money now.
Initially,
he said he was the one collecting those things.
Yeah.
According to the previous statement. This is where this is fun.
Yo, kudlaliwe ngabantu. Yeah,
And
I
you
can't
tell me
believe I
a person-
waited this long to hear these confessions, and this is what I'm hearing.
And you tell me that these people.
This is what I'm
And
hearing.
I still say, this is funny that you would leave your Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo's in the bench. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
You okay, maybe you have both of them in the team. You play one. How possible is that? You have Ntuli and then you have Carlos.
Yes.
You only went in with Carlos, who also did not finish the job. You had to ask question, did you finish? Did you finish? They celebrated before everything happened. Hayi khona. Hayi khona. Bagwethu. Hayi khona.
Kenyiwa. Then Carlos.
And then a sane person who's got a proper capacity of thinking takes this.
And says, we have a case.
And then when you pursue them, they duck and dive with. In court, it's all about what you present. Okay. Today, I had the liberty of having a conversation with a lawyer and a police. They were sitting together, chilling. One of my friends. They are bullshitting this thing. Both of them. I'm talking about an investigation lawyer. They are bullshitting this thing. All right. Ingabis don't leave you with one hole in the chest. Normally, their position of if they don't hit the head,
Yes.
it's properly straight to the heart, not closer, not cutting between.
They
Uvalo
get
and
close to
they
you
hit
and
straight
they go
on your
straight.
on your pocket. Where's the moment bakshay pocket? Laba fana baselokishini. They hit straight there.
And they usually aim for
And
the
from
head.
from hitting you there, they don't stop. They come to the head. If they don't start with the head, trust and believe. What
They
look?
will.
What check the videos of these people? What they do in the garages and everywhere. Daylight, where they are outside, where there are cameras. They don't run. Those people. They are not in a panic mode. They are not in a hurry. They might look like they are in a hurry eventually, but before they finish at least 3 to 4 bullets, that's when they leave you.
They need to make sure that you're gone.
Where there are people surrounding you, where there could be anyone who's got a gun.
Those people become casualties.
No, I'm saying there could be anyone who can just decide to shoot at them. But no, that person does not do that. They take their time, their sweet time.
It's very sad.
And then
This
in the house,
Situation.
full of 3 people, if we were to take accused number one's confession and maybe feed in some people there, in a house full of 3 people or in a house full of 7 or 9 people, I don't care. All of them not armed. They allow a person to hit them with a chair now. A chair.
Now there's a chair, but the people in the house never said anything about a chair.
And that chair is not even part of evidence. It was never mentioned.
They never mentioned that.
Even Mapopola having an advantage of
no mention
popolating
of
in
a
a chair.
chair.
There's no mention of a chair.
So Carlos then gave me a phone. I had a plastic bag with me. There was a plastic container on the table with money. Carlos gave me the container, which I put in the plastic bag. Everyone was lying down. Everyone was lying down. Everyone was lying down except the people in the house never said that everyone was lying down.
They fought for their lives.
They fought for their lives in that kitchen.
So, Senzo with his, I don't know, sport, because he trains all the time. If you take this statement, he rose from the floor to jump and take the chair, and Carlos gave him all that chance. With what we've been told about Carlos, all the chance to come and hit him with the chair. And then Muzi, I don't know now. Tutus is Pamesnan. It's our Lampist Pam Samakos, tutus.
I was yega.
Was the egg and you are Kuba phone? Carlos is born.
Plastic bag.
Eventually, Carlos.
One cell phone. But they were there for cell phones.
Eventually, he left the house.
Yes. Everyone was lying down. I believe Carlos was told where whatever he was looking for was. So Carlos was about to open something when Senzo Meyiwa stood up. There was then a scuffle between him and Carlos. During this intense scuffle, Senzo took a chair and hit Carlos with it. It appeared as if he wanted Carlos to stop taking whatever he wanted to take from him, wherever he was opening. Now, this confession is making it seem like they wanted something. You hear me? They wanted something, or they were there for something, and Senzo knew what they were there for. Kelly Khumalo was the one who directed Carlos where the thing was.
What is that thing?
Which he wanted to take.
They took the phone, they took the money. What is that thing?
During the scuffle, Carlos fired 2 shots. I did not see where Senzo was hit because when the shots were fired, I went outside. I was still in the house when it was fired, and I left the house as Senzo was falling. I ran out. As I ran out in Togoziseni Mapisa came in, I ran and got in the vehicle. They remained in the house. I was there plus minus 5 minutes before they came in, and as I ran to the car, Muzi was standing outside. All came back. Muzi in front, Mtogoziseni and Carlos were behind him, following him. We drove away from the scene. While driving, Carlos and Mtogoziseni asked for the phone and plastic container, which I gave them.
Just a reminder that the previous one is Carlos who asked for the phone and the money. Alone, by the way.
Now they shared it. They shared the plastic.
Now it's a shared job.
Where Carlos then said, "Here is my watch." We drove to the hostel and went straight to
So that could
room
have been
1B.
the watch that was taken at the hospital, maybe, that was supposed to feature somewhere, but unfortunately, someone testified about it.
To say that it was actually taken by Kelly. But then Carlos is saying, "Here is my watch." It means a whole Nkabi went there with a watch.
No, the whole Nkabi went there to get a watch.
To get a watch. Ooh, and that would have been very interesting because the watch was there, an expensive Rolex watch.
So, yeah, that watch, they did not make it to be part of evidence for some weird reason, because Mandisa was there and they saw maybe some of the things.
So
this is my own opinion of you. Allegedly.
Maybe Mandisa was like, "It Senzo's watch is missing," or something.
I
like
agree, he was there.
Okay.
He saw it.
She
Probably
saw it.
She saw it.
And then it said we drove to the hostel and went straight to room 1B. Carlos then pointed to
It has a
Sbiya.
number now, that room.
That room has a number now. And he said he must warn me. if any word comes out that they are involved, then they would kill me. Carlos and Sifiso then ordered me to go to the kitchen. The four of them, Carlos, Mapisa, Sifiso, and Muzi, remained in the bedroom and they closed the door. Sifiso then came out and gave me 15,000 rands. I was shivering since I was never involved in such a thing before. We all left the hostel in a Polo Vivo. So they left in one car from the hostel.
But
and it's very interesting.
Hold on. They left in one car. Not exactly. Because angithi phela uZungu yena left with Muzi.
Oh, Cronje, he gave him a lift.
He gave him a lift and left him around there in Vosloorus, around there.
Not
there
even at the hostel, around Vosloorus.
Yes.
Hey, guys.
Yebo.
Yeah. This is a mess.
And these people went to hostel according to the statement. All of them went to hostel.
Yes, all of them went back.
But according to Zungu, they came in drips and drops. Accused number 1 and 2 and 3 came running. Boom! And then you remember when the judge was assisting in terms of the light that was not lightening, that was not lighting.
Yes.
Kwacisha ilight, and that's what Zungu said. Kwacisha ilight. This is Zulu, that was in Zulu. The light went off, and then the judge added a source. Lati, the light was switched off. And even Zungu later says Gwabini was fixing it, that light.
So it ended up being, which I remember, Gwabini switched off the light.
Yeah. So you'd remember that there were 5, and in that 5 car, that 5, there was Muzi there,
which was dropped off somewhere in Vosloorus.
Yes.
Not at the hostel.
Not by Gwabini. Not by Zungu.
Not by Zungu.
By the Polo Vivo.
Oh, by the Polo Vivo.
But Zungu also dropped the very same man.
On the very same night.
On the very same night. There and thereabout.
And it's very interesting that Danzi saying I was never in such a situation before. I'd never done a job like this. And yet he was the one sent with Carlos inside the house. Guys, have you heard the details of accused number 5's cases?
That's why I'm saying you leave Messi outside. You want to go score goals.
He does not leave witnesses behind.
According to what we are told.
So he chose to chill in the car and be on the lookouts. While Ntanzi, who had never done this thing before, goes inside to do the job.
With Carlos.
At the top street, or at the stop street, Mapisa and Carlos then got into the car or the other Polo Vivo vehicle and left. During the drive to the stop street from the hostel, Carlos kept on pointing his finger at me, threatening me. He was also swearing because I was visibly frightened.
So on another car?
In another car, which
he
is
was
a Polo
pointing
Vivo.
At him in another car.
Kuhamba ma Polo Vivo. Awana makala this time, not much color is mentioned, not much. Kuhamba Polo Vivo. Gijima Polo Vivo, Polo Vivo, Polo Vivo, Polo Vivo.
Agrippa is white. That must
Polo
be collaborated.
Polo Vivo. Polo Vivo. We don't know which one moves from where, which and how. Gray, a white one or a gray one or a silver one. We don't know. But Gujimi Polo Vivo.
Same Queen.
Same Queen, busy Polo Vivo. Then he said, I forgot to mention before they parted ways, the 4 of them first had a meeting outside the vehicle. I also forgot to mention that Mthokoziseni asked Carlos at the hostel, are you sure you really hit him? At the stop sign, he pointed me with his finger saying, I'm telling you. Well, Miss Cronje at this point did not want to read the word. It was a cuss word, and the judge said that she must read it because at the CSA, they will not be having that document. So So the Supreme Court of Appeal seems like they only listen to the record and they don't have the documents in front of them, according to Judge Rata.
So why are we referring? I was worried about that. Why are we already referring at the CSA?
Yeah, bo.
Yabona ukuthi ziyakhala.
So he's also preparing. I mean, Rata is also preparing that, you know what? Yeah, hamba le case ya Supreme Court of Appeal. He's preparing. He's making preparations for that. We already know what the ruling is, if that's the case. Well, Cronje continued to read, and it said, "You will shit," is the cuss word that she didn't want to say. A deal is a deal.
Zonya.
He also said, if he hears anything, he will kill me. He doesn't know my parents' home, but Muzi knows and he will show him. Muzi walked to his place thereafter. And Zungu said he dropped him off. Sfiso then said, I must not sleep at my place. He took me to a place in Johannesburg, a flat, after picking up his brother in Davidton. Sfiso and his brother then brought liquor and we drank.
Last time I heard that Sfiso is a loner with a granny. There's no brother.
He's an only child. Or an only...
Well...
Now he has a brother.
He has a brother that he picked.
Confession that he picked, and they went to a flat and they drank and they slept.
Imagine a brother, if you ask me.
Sfiso then came to pick me up in the morning. They dropped me off in Davidton. After 2 days, Sfiso gave me further cash. I got a total of about 45,000 rands. This includes the initial 15,000 rands. So now we're working with an amount of around 60,000 rands. Last time, did they say 30,000 rands and 15,000 rands on the last confession?
Yeah, they did on that one of Ntanzi. Ntanzi took the rest of the money, if you ask me, close to 50% of that money, and there were 5 of them.
Because they said it's 100K. The hit
Maths
was
is not matching.
And Sifiso is how much did Sifiso get? How much did he get if Ntanzi is getting 65K?
As a driver, maybe got 5,000.
He said, I then got into a taxi back to Carltonville. I had to change my cell phone number since they kept on calling me, threatening me. One other year, Gwabini's Fiso called me and asked me if I was going to come to his hometown. I went to his house and called him, but he then told me that he is at Muzi's house. I went to Muzi's house. On my arrival, I discovered that there was a meeting which was about to end.
So you see what the statement is doing.
It's
Bogus as it might sound, it tells a bit of the truth. Ntanzi is not familiar with accused number 5. I mean accused number 3. So is accused number 5. Also is accused number 5, right? That's what it tells us. Because Carlos doesn't even know where Moses' house is at.
Said, I will ask Muzi and he will find you.
And you want to know the funny thing is that Muzi was never there with these other guys. Muzi had his own 2 people.
Different people.
That he was guiding for outside. Those are people. Not
Makimba,
these ones of Zungus and whatnot.
Makimba and Marco. And Marco Butelezi. Those are the ones that accused number 5. Accused number 1 was with on the same day or night of the incident. But it was somehow on a Saturday. I don't understand.
But wait, I'm going to tell accused number 2. Accused number 1. He did his job on Saturday. Yesabat Ankosea. And I want to bring that thing of Yesabat. That thing comes from Zung, if you you ask me, because he brings it in his statement about Usfiso Mapisa. He says when he came back with the key after disappearing, he did not know his key.
Yes.
Where it was.
Yes.
Mapisa said thank you. And he was respectful. You could tell that Usonda Washembe. He fellowship.
Yeah. This is a good story.
You could tell that he fellowships in Shembe. So that's a bad thing and whatnot is not.
Someone who was doing this confused Sabata and Shembe.
And he was interested in the Sabata thing such that he changed the date or where Senzo was shot.
Because I'm like, I do see a lot of, guys, Zulu is common language. I've hardly heard someone use Isabata. It's always Umgqibelo. Hardly used Isabata.
You hear people from saying Sabata are people who fellowships in Washembe, and those are people, and I've hardly encountered people who went to the 7 days
Adventist.
I think
they
I
call
know
it in
two
English, it's a Sabbath.
It's a Sabbath. But Isabata.
Because someone was.
So this is where you catch the names. He
says, I do not know what it was about, the meeting.
And according to, just sort of to disturb you,
yes.
According to Zoom, if you remember, the guns were handed to Gwabini.
Yes.
In the house, yes, where he got in and then the light went off.
Yes, I remember.
So that. Because Gwabini was portrayed as someone who was a holder of this gun. Then according to Ntanzi's statement, the so-called statement, there is a guy who came with another polo, which is Luleg or something like that. The one that you were asking. Simpiwe. And he took those firearms. And he's the one who gave them, right?
And you are saying Simpiwe is that nephew or whatever of Zungu's that came and fetched
I'm
him.
Trying to find that part.
Or maybe it's Gwabini. But Gwabini was
Gwabini
found.
Gwabini was there. Gwabini did not, according to the old Zungu, Gwabini did not go with the car. He just went and came back.
Yes.
It was to the gate.
But I even remember when we were talking about Zungu's testimony that whatever happened to this cousin that first he met up with in town. I think he said he met up with him.
He was busy with something else. It's like was jolly.
And
he
kind of disappeared from the story.
Hey.
But now in the story, he's being brought up as within the whole.
We are not sure if that is the name because this Scalo. Scalo is the name that is being.
Oh, that's Scalo.
Yeah. Scalo is the one who.
So who's Simpiwe now?
Yeah, it's someone else.
Simpiwe now is a new character.
It's a new character,
story.
Yeah.
He said, I do not know what it was about, the meeting. In this meeting, the fathers of the guys who held the meeting were present. I was there plus minus 3 minutes. Plus minus 3 minutes, he says. When we were asked if we were not family, we should excuse ourselves from the meeting. Gwabini remained and I went outside. So Gwabini now is being included in the meeting. Gwabini later said the meeting was about an altercation between the sisters of Muzi, who threatened to tell the police they had Senzo killed.
Even Zungu was there, or the father of Zungu could be there, but it is narrated as if Zungu was there. I don't know.
You know what's interesting? When he says the sisters had threatened to tell the police that they had killed Senzo, isn't Muzikaw'khulelwa convicted for a case where they are saying that the ex-girlfriend was the one who was threatening to expose him for the murder of Senzo.
Yes.
So now it's sisters that were making the threats and not the ex-girlfriend or the girlfriend. At 2014, they said it's a girlfriend. Cronje said the statement was read to the deponent in English and it was translated to him in isiZulu. The portion that was added, she said, is the part when Ntanzi said he was the only one without a firearm. He had a small one in his pocket. So Ntanzi added to Miss Cronje, according to Miss Cronje's version, that he had a firearm in his pocket. That was given to him in the car. Oti, that part, Ntanzi said it. And the statement was made on the 24th of June 2020 at 17:20. So, I don't know about you guys, but now I'm more convinced right now that Ntanzi did not write this confession or this so-called
I'm 110% convinced.
Yeah.
I don't need the book of law to see that this statement is just shambolic.
The confessions don't have depth. They are not specific. They were just done in a hurry, you know. They were done in a hurry. Like, they were not too detailed in such a manner that I'll be convinced that, he did it. I'm not yet convinced. Okay, and this was a high profile
And it's easy
person.
to see the gap between the police that were investigating. There's a camp that sits with Kinindi, and there's a camp that is with, not a camp, maybe 2 or 1 people who are with, who's this one? Buthelezi and Maku.
Warrant Officer Maku.
Yes.
And by the way, Ntabiseng testified, who was outside the whole time while the incident prior to it happening at the house in the Spaza house at Fosloras Nomzamo Street, or Nomzamo, what is the section? Yes. She never saw Polo Vivo, grey Polo Vivo, white Polo.
Because in this theory, it could be parked far in the park as...
Then what about people walking towards the Khumalo house and running out? He did see 2 people running out, but what about the rest? The one who was guarding the window, you know, the one who was guarding the door, you know. What about those people? The one who chased, she didn't even see Mtogo getting chased and jumping the wall. She didn't see none of that.
Getting out and jumping the wall.
And she wasn't alone. She was with a friend inside her car.
Yebo.
So Baloy handed another exhibit, and Baloy said, if someone was to say to you that this exhibit JJ was not completed before you in your presence, what would you say? And Cronje said, firstly, that is not correct. The parties were before me and it was taken down in my own handwriting.
On the troll.
The theory here is that Cronje was just writing and not asking him anything, getting up every now and then to go to the white lady in the passage. Was she had a laptop with her that she used to not only do what she was doing, but also illegally record Ntanzi without his knowledge. Who is to say that she was not even copying what was already emailed or sent to her, you know, to write down and write into her statement? It's just a question. It's a question. Okay. Let us not forget that initially Mjiako was not mentioned by name. He was referred to as a gentleman in a suit.
Wait, Cartonville is in the same place as Rustenburg, then?
No. Carltonville is more towards the side around Fontaine in Johannesburg.
So this, what is it called, the company that Ntanzi was working for?
The one he worked in Carltonville. In Carltonville or in Rustenburg.
Which one did you work for when he was?
In 2014. It's the one in Carltonville. No, it's the one in Carltonville. In Carltonville, Sibanye is still water.
Is it in Carltonville, not in Rustenburg?
Carltonville, not in Rustenburg. The one in Rustenburg, it's Impala.
Yeah, it's Impala.
Impala Platinum. or something like that. So Baloyi then said, if someone was to further say to you that after the taking down of the statement, the deponent was then taken to a secluded area, a dumping site in Boksburg, that the police then brought forward Annexure A, which was then completed, and that the deponent was then assaulted and tortured, Ramasipele asked for the relevance because they had already dealt with admissibility.
Yeah, I would believe that part. Why would I believe it? Because it's initials. It's not a signature. It's initials. So that means the one that had blood were removed and they could have been rewritten. Because seemingly the initials that only it only mean one thing. At the beginning of those statement, it says everyone must sign.
Everyone must sign, and nobody signed. This is
and then Cronje comes and say, I took an initial as a signature because not everyone can sign.
Now I believe in Tanzi's version because of that whole situation. I do.
Because everyone cannot sign, but the same person signed at the back of the page. What are you saying about that?
Why couldn't they sign the rest of the page?
You were observing that person putting initials, and then you allowed him to sign at the end.
So maybe it was signed, and because it had blood in it,
it had to be changed.
Think about it.
Because initials is a straightforward thing. If it's LV, you'll write LV.
Doesn't matter which handwriting.
Doesn't matter which handwriting. It would be difficult to detect which handwriting was there.
And is it BS Bongani Sandiso? BS ET for the interpreter, then whatever for Miss Cronje. That's easy peasy. That's not rocket science.
My worry is that you are aware that this man can sign.
Tricky.
Why aren't you telling him you are supposed to sign actually here, not initial?
I remember how Tanzi said that when he did sign, because the last page of the confession was signed, and he's saying, when I did sign, I was signing under the impression that I'd be getting a bath and the phone call I asked for. Right. Then he signed, and then he got up. The rest of the pages he didn't want to sign. Perhaps somebody was pissed off that why are you walking out and you're not done with the magistrate? What's your problem? Allegedly. And then the dumping area. Yeah, bo.
Then this version is much more believable.
And then in all
honesty, if we are
why are you stubborn? Why are you refusing to sign? Sign with the magistrate. You're not done. Why?
We are going to sign, like it or not.
You are going to sign, like it or not. And then because our police are the police, not all of them, but those ones who like doing this kind of things, they forgot to distinguish between signature and initials. They're like, no, we usually initial every page. I know my theory.
So in summary, this whole statement is just there to collaborate what Zungu has been saying. Even though it is trying to do that, to complement, it still makes mistakes.
So where he claims that what is written in the statement was not written before him, the state has got a right to pursue that aspect. The case he could think of was State versus Dlamini, and he said that your client, Mr. Ramasipele, denies making a statement. So the statement has got to prove that this statement was not only admissible, but it was made by a client. So meaning that this trial within a trial is not specifically quite over. The ruling that the judge made, it was made to give the state more time to prove, and
with an assistance.
Yes, with an assistance, and will not stop attempting to prove that the assault did not take place. Therefore, the defense, in my opinion, should continue to prove that it did take place. And I'm not seeing much of that. I'm not. That whole theory I just made up, you can turn that into a cross-examination. Can't you, Mr. Anonymous? You can.
Heads of argument, yes.
If you are fighting hard.
Heads of argument, yes.
Yes, heads of argument,
yes.
not cross-examination. But you could craft your questions in a way.
To who?
To
Baloyi. You want to
Not
ask
to
Baloyi
Baloyi.
that
These witnesses that are testifying about the confessions, especially the police officers.
But someone who's supposed to prove is Baloyi. It's
Oh,
not
he's
someone
supposed
who's
to
testifying.
But then, yes, that's what this literally means, is that they have more chance to prove, they are given more opportunity to prove that the assault never took place. So after the short adjournment, when asked by advocate Judge Baloyi about the possibility of accused number 2 being assaulted, that he bled and that some of the blood fell on exhibit JJ, what would she say about that?
Thank you very much for your generous $50.
Thank you, Maria Gambi, and you are back. Thank you.
Goes a long way. Thank you.
Thank you. Then I'm like, Will, it's been a while since I heard from you, Maria Gambi. Where have you been hiding? But thank you.
You come back with a bang.
Thank you. So Cronje then said, I don't know what happened to the deponent after he left the office. This whole statement was handed to Ms. du Plessis by myself. Cronje said that there was no blood on it and that there's no way this statement could have been completed or signed after I had given or handed it over to Ms. du Plessis because everything was done in my presence. So Cronje said it's not true that the statement should have blood stains. I'm like, how would you know that? Wow. But Cronje said on the part when Tanzi said that he requested a bath and toiletries and to contact his family and children, she says that there's nowhere where the deponent signed. So according to the way of Mr. or Miss Cronje taking confessions, she's telling us that Tanzi should have signed on the part where he says he requested a bath and he requested to call his family. He should impended the signature there to say that that is his request. But yet she wrote it down in the confession. What nonsense is this? I don't understand. I don't understand. Baloyi then said the accused signed when they were requesting a bath and to call a family. I'm like, Baloyi, come on now. No. What are we doing? Since when is Ntanzi supposed to be signing at the end of every sentence to say that I said this? You are the one who was saying that that's not how it is. Now you are spinning it and turning it to fit whatever you want it to fit. How Gashen. It won't change the fact that Ms. Cronje was told and she heard it and she even recorded it on the confession that the accused said that they wanted to have a bath and they wanted to call their family. Now, if you were to ask me, in my opinion, it seemed like Ms. Cronje was also looking out for herself. I will never forget when she said that she felt threatened. It seemed like, including that part when Tanzi was saying that he had not taken a bath and he had not, it was some kind of insurance for herself as well for a time like this, in my opinion. I feel like she included it on purpose.
If you ask me, Cronje or no Cronje, the whoever the interpreter,
yeah, fine. But it feels
birds
like
of the
she
same
had.
feather.
You think so?
If you ask me.
Well, Ramasepuli read where it is said each of these pages must be signed by the magistrate, deponent, and interpreter. A mark on the left was spotted, and Cronje confirmed that that was her signature. The initials BS, they are from Tanzi, and ET are from the interpreter. So pages 1 to 6 needed to be signed, not initialed.
Now Mbotho. Was it Mbotho?
Yes.
Or Raphadu, who was interpreting and doing everything and wrote himself as an interpreter?
That's Raphadu.
Did he sign where there's an interpreter supposed to sign?
Perhaps he did. I don't know.
People.
So every person
All-rounders.
signed in her presence, she said. And remember Ntanzi said how he was beaten at the dumping area and he was made to initial a couple of pages?
Yes.
Now, Ramosipili said, as the story was narrated to you, did you ask any clarification questions on the issues that were not clear to you, or you just wrote it as was narrated to yourself? And Cronje said that she wrote it as it was narrated to her. She said that she only asked about Carlos because she could not clearly distinguish between Carlos and Carlos. So Cronje and Ntanzi said that it is interchangeable. So Ramosipili, on when was the part about firearms?
Next thing, Marcos and Carlos is interchangeable.
Is interchangeable.
Hot! There's no limit. Please like the video, guys. At least that's a gift you can give us. Please like the video. I see the likes are not liking. Please like the video. I know it's nice to listen, but let us like the video, guys, while we're doing so that we are all happy. Yes.
So Cronje said that it added by the deponent after the full statement was taken and it was interpreted to him, and he told the interpreter that he wanted to make an addition to the part. Then Ramosipili was done. Now this was the part about the firearms. She said that the deponent is the one who wanted to make it. So Mgomezulu said he wanted the accused to understand that the statement that she says was made by accused number 2 was a confession. So he said in a plea in terms of section 1122 of the Criminal Procedure Act, the accused pleads guilty to a particular offense. As a presiding officer, if you're not satisfied with the particular elements of that particular offense, you are not going to accept that plea. So Baloyi objected, saying that it's irrelevant and the duty of this magistrate was merely to record what she was being told. Hebana. And not to make any determination. So this
I find that very confusing because
a whole magistrate was supposed to act like a peace officer. I find that
very confusing because even though you act as a peace officer, you then say clarity. You also are involved in case this person was beaten. Isn't that sort of an admission that even if Ntanzi was indeed visibly beaten, you wouldn't have done anything because your only aim is to take the statement?
Yes, and not exercise your skills as a magistrate that you were trained for and that you practice in cases to say that this confession is legit or not. If you did not have that freedom and you were told to just take the confession, then who told you? Who? Because this is sounding like you were compelled. This is sounding like this is not something that you were even supposed to do, the way you are putting it, in my opinion. So this is very sus. It doesn't make me comfortable at all to hear a whole magistrate. Because now you're being asked about, actually, this is your job, this section 2.1 whatever. It's your job description. It's something that you practice on a daily basis, and the best you can come up with is, I was told to just take whatever this person was saying, like a secretary.
Very passive role, if you ask me.
Anybody can do that. Why wasn't the one done by Mbotho enough? Was it Raphadu? Why wasn't the one done by Raphadu enough? He's a peace officer. He did exactly that. What was the need of you?
So he and Ntanzi was happy with 30,000. On the other one, is not happy with 30,000.
He's given 45,000 and 50,000.
I'm saying the 30 plus 50.
Oh.
He was not happy. On the other side.
Yeah, on this one he was happy.
This one, he was okay. He didn't say anything.
And how can you forget such an issue of you feeling robbed when it comes to money? How can you forget it? Mgomezulu said that as the presiding officer, she had to determine whether what was given to her was... Then the judge interrupted, okay? He said, no, she determines nothing. I determine. She records.
Why does this man shout at a man, at an old man?
I don't understand.
Superiority.
Complex. And you know when the judge is getting like this, acting like a toddler, you know that there's something there, right?
Yeah.
You guys should pick it up by now.
Something is not right.
Yeah, whenever he starts throwing tantrums like a toddler, this is actually Cronje's job description that she was being cross-examined on. And the judge is saying no.
So at some point they thought that accused number one is the one who okholwa Shembe, because accused number one also had a Sabbath there. Isabatha. My friend Marco and who was this one? Makumba. Hey, I God, nah.
The names, these characters that
it's
are
like
now
we're in
popping
Mexico
up.
or something. Carlos.
You're like we're in Mexico, right? The names Carlos, Marco. So Mgomezulu said the court cannot make a determination in the absence of anything that is placed on record. This is a presiding officer. At the end of the day, the court must make a determination whether it was an admission or a confession. And those basis must come from the witness who gives formal evidence. The judge said that's correct. And then he continued to say that Ms. Cronje records what the witness tells her, not what she thinks the witness should tell her. But that's not the question. Magistrates are trained with the section 2.1 whatever to assess a confession, to determine whether it is a confession or it is an admission or it should be taken to court or not. Right? She's being cross-examined on that, and the judge is interfering, and he's saying that it's not Ms. Cronje's job to determine, it's his job to determine. Well, he's not the one who took the confession. Ntanzi did not appear before him to confess. He appeared before another magistrate who's qualified to tell whether this confession is bogus or not.
Unlike you.
Mgomezulu said that he is putting the question straightforward to the witness. What is put to you when you were taking it? Was it a confession? And the judge giggled in the background. And he said he started that whole thing of being uncomfortable. Well, Cronje said it's a confession is an admission of guilt in its true sense. It's not for me to determine if he confessed or not. It's for me to write down what he said, to produce it to the court, and for the court to make it into account with all the other evidence. So Ms. Cronje here was actually answering the questions in English. She's quite fluent in English, even better than myself. Okay. So I was perplexed, right? She was answering in English. I was not dreaming. So Mgomezulu said, yes, I agree with you, but my concern is you are here to testify under provisions of section 219 because the pro forma that you completed, the rights that you explained to the deponent related to the provisions of section 217, not 219. So this court must, at the end of the day, determine whether what was taken from accused number 2 was an admission or a confession. And Cronje said she went back to Afrikaans. Okay, guys. The wolf here, the wolf as correct, ni acne. So the court, not me, is what she said. Quickly went to Afrikaans Ndagabao. Kushushu. Mgomezulu then said, correct. What makes you say accused number 2 made a confession before you? And Cronje said, this deponent came to me and said that he wants to make a confession. It was not for me as the presiding officer in court, who was not in court on that particular day, to then determine or decide whether this was a confession or just a mere admission or nothing. He did not appear before court. It was not for me to then evaluate that which he was saying. The attachment of this document does not say that what he said on that day does not come to a confession or not. So Mgomezulu said, ma'am, the state called you as a magistrate that you on that day give evidence. Now you testify that the accused made a statement. What makes you to say that the accused person was confessing before you? And Cronje said, I have already answered that question. It won't change unless if you want me to repeat it. It was getting hot.
Whoosh.
And people are like, no, Mgomezulu does not know what he's doing. Lalela. Mgomezulu knows exactly what he's doing. Okay. He's cross-examining.
Mgomezulu is fighting alone there.
He's alone. He's alone. It's so sad. No further questions. No further questions. Yo, Mgostam. We won. One talk. Mgomezulu. The rest, they're relaxed.
I mean, your client
I'm sure they're not even taking notes anymore.
Has been fingered there, your client.
No, you don't care.
You're just relaxing.
Mgomezulu then said, as long as I'm not satisfied with the answer, I'll keep asking it because it's a technical point that I'm going to raise. Let me just rephrase it by saying, accused number 2 did not come to you and say, I want to make a confession, correct? Cronje said, not in those words. Thank you, Mgomezulu said. That's what I want to drive you to. Accused number 1 never came to you and said, I want to make a confession. It's for the presiding officer or the magistrate to determine that such elements of a confession does not qualify. So the judge said that there's no law like that. And Mgomezulu said 217, and the judge said, but you're not quoting 217. So Mgomezulu quoted 217A, and it says a confession must be taken before a magistrate. Why? Because it says a peace officer who takes a statement from the suspect or the accused must be reduced in writing before a magistrate. The question is why before a magistrate? The answer is because a magistrate knows all the elements of a particular confession. And at this point, Mgomezulu was speaking with emphasis and his voice raised a bit higher. And the judge quoted another apartheid case, 1929, S versus Marlin, where it was said that a confession was unequivocal admission of all the elements of a particular offense. So the judge said his job, he is not to evaluate what was said to her, it is to take what was said to her. Magistrate is no longer allowed to evaluate. They must just take. Interesting.
There you go.
Then Mgomezulu said, you talk about accused number 2 going to the room of Muzi, then later 1B. Cronje read the part to remind herself, and after reading it, she said it is mentioned that accused number 2 was sent to the question, right? And Cronje read it. She did not even know who accused number 2 was. Eventually, she read that part on the statement. And after protesting to say that she will not be reading the entire statement, Mgomezulu asked, would you agree that in that statement, Kelly didn't directly communicate with accused number 2? And Cronje said that there was nothing given to me to write to that effect. So Mgomezulu then asked, when you were asked about the clarifications that you had made, or you sought the then accused was giving you the statement, did it come to your mind that he was confessing to a particular offense? For instance, did it come to your mind that the deponent was confessing to a robbery at the stage? And Cronje said, what I thought and didn't think at the particular moment is irrelevant. When it comes to the taking down of the statement, he had to be allowed to say whatever he wanted to say so that it's being written down without putting him in, cornering him into a particular direction which he did not want to go into. So you must also take into account that when a person is before you as a presiding magistrate, you must know nothing about what is that they want to tell you about. So Khumalo and Mshololo had no further questions, while the judge, of course, had his own questions. And he asked the magistrate, do you know Carlos? Have you met any of the persons in your life? And Cronje said no idea who that was. So the judge asked him, do you know Mapisa, Basotho Hostel, Kelly Khumalo, Senzo Meyiwa? Cronje said no. Next on the line of the witness was Colonel Nkosikhona Hadebe, was the next witness. He was present at the alleged pointings out by accused number 1, Muzikaw'khulelwa Sbiya, in June 2020, and Baloyi said that the pointings are admissible, and the judge confirmed that they are sharing pictures that should not be shown before, or that were not shown before, because they were waiting for it to be admissible. So they were rendered inadmissible at that point in the trial within a trial. Remember that Hadebe pretty much today repeated the testimony that he gave on the trial within a trial. It was pretty much a repetition of what he testified before, except for the addition of other pictures that perhaps were not shown before. They just shown a few other pictures that were held back. So Hadebe went through the photos taken before and after the alleged pointings out, and Baloyi asked him, how did we get to the place on that photo? And Hadebe said, we were directed by Muzikaw'khulelwa Sbiya. Baloyi asked him, did he point from the police station? And Hadebe said he requested us to go to the entrance of Vosloorus, and then he directed us to his house. Hadebe then said photo 14 shows where he allegedly stood during the incident, including photo 15. I asked Sergeant Maphakela to take photos of Muzi after the pointings out, and Hadebe said I obtained further clarification of what he pointed out. He said, I'm not sure about the day when I was called by Marco Buthelezi, and he said he would see me. He came with Makimba. He said he had a job. He said it was to kill someone. I asked who he said, and he said Senzo. Remember, Marco and Makimba are different people that are not before the court as the accused. They got arrested allegedly, according to who was taking the confession, Mbotho. One was arrested and the other one is said to have passed on.
It's a waste of time, man. Just going through that.
So we went to a house, which I pointed out to Colonel Hadebe. When asked about Sbiya's version that he was forced to point out a certain place, Hadebe said, I did not know Muzi or the case I was going to do pointings out on. There's no way I have filled in this information without getting it from him.
Is this the same Hadebe?
Yes, the confession read by Hadebe was exactly the same as that of Colonel Mbotho. It had Abu Mako. Now they added a bit of aromat with saying that Mkulu threw the bones, but according to both statements, they met on Saturday. So Baloyi added that the question straight from the judge's book.
Something is not right here with this name of Makimba. If you ask me, I would relate more to this name if it says Makimba.
Makimba sounds like a different language.
Yes. Makimba. Yeah. That would sound correct.
Makimba.
Makimba, umuntu who's half naked.
So a white polo, the Nyanga, Baloyi asked if Hadebe knew any of that stuff, taking a page literally from Judge Ratha's book, and Hadebe said no. Mgomezulu asked one question, if he had any photos that were taken inside the house during the pointings out, and Hadebe said that there were no photos taken inside the house.
What's the point of pointing?
So the rest of the defense counsel had no further questions.
You could have been pointing to the neighbor's house.
It doesn't matter. After the long adjournment, Advocate George Baloyi said that there are 3 other witnesses and that they would be available tomorrow. Advocate Mgomezulu said that he needs to go through the evidence of those witnesses and he wanted to adjourn until Wednesday. So the judge said that he knows all the tricks to assume that the reason why they are postponing is because of Mgomezulu, even though Advocate Baloyi had expressed that the 3 other witnesses would only be able to testify tomorrow, right? But then Mgomezulu said, you know what, he needed an adjournment, and a lot of people are already speculating that maybe he's attending the GBV case that the NPA has against him. So he's saying that he'll be available on Wednesday, and the judge was implying that he knows all the tricks because of this when Mgomezulu was asking to go on Wednesday. And surprisingly enough, Khumalo announced to the court that they had been prior told that Mgombezulu was not going to be present tomorrow. I mean, why did he announce it in the court like that? I found that to be very dodgy for somebody who always doesn't have questions to cross-examine people that matter, and you're going to go and have a slip of the tongue like
all
that.
Those lawyers.
Mgombezulu in the fire, in the frying pan. Dagama.
Agari, you remember how Mshololo was moving?
Yes.
When Tifo was there?
Yes. Yes, I remember. She wanted to be the teacher's pet. She wanted to be liked. She wanted to be and Mr. Anonymous was vocal about it. And we were like, no, Mr. Anonymous, no. There's no way. And Mr. Anonymous has always been critical of Mshololo, questioning. But I was like, hi, man, no, man. Why? But hey, Mnisi stood to speak on accused number 3's mental capacity, and he's saying that he's been in solitary confinement for 3 years and 4 months. And he even compared the situation to being in Guatemala. So the judge asked if he has ever been in Guatemala, and he laughed. So to him, practically, this is a joke. The judge said that he cannot do much about it. It's correctional services who decide how to house the visitors of their state. And the judge said Mnisi must be the one to write a letter to correctional services. And the judge said that he wanted it to be put on record. When the accused say that they are understanding, they must say that they understand and put it on the record instead of nodding. This happened after they were interpreted. The interpretation was
They must continue nodding. They must understand all the language. That thing is able to capture any language, most. Even the sign language.
Even the sign language.
We assume.
That's a sign language.
Yeah, that's a sign language. Understand it. It's your story. In any case, it's not like you can exonerate these guys.
No. But it's quite interesting that he's been in solitary confinement for 3 years. Sure. And he hasn't lost his mind yet. Remember how even with the bookings, before they got the confessions out of accused number 2 in specific, Ntanzi is the one who spoke about it, about how he was always booked in a single cell. If you had nothing to hide, why were you always booking him in a single cell?
You're going to say he's a high crime. I think that's why.
Good evening, Emily, Mr. Anonymous, and the entire Mzansi Reality family. It's actually for the first time that I'm calling in today, to make a comment and a contribution regarding this case. And I must also applaud you, Emily, and Mr. Anonymous. I think, in my opinion, you guys are doing very great. But without any further ado, let me begin by saying that I was very disappointed yet again on the so-called second confession that was made or allegedly made by Ntanzi in front of the magistrate Cronje. In my opinion, I think this confession was made in order to sort of try to close some loopholes. And secondly, I believe that this confession was made in order to try to sort of bend or align it with whatever the witnesses from the spaza shop were saying. Of which I believe that if there's anything to prove, they dismally failed to do so, because there's a lot of contradictions that one can point into. I find it very peculiar that the so-called notorious criminal Ntanzi, remember, we've been told that he deals with guns and ammunition. He's a distributor or a seller, something along those lines. But in the same case, we are being told that he didn't have a gun for himself. I find it very strange. And then secondly, we are being told that Ntanzi entered the spaza shop house with Carlos. And the only thing that he did was just to pick up some container with a cell phone or cell phones or whatever. And in the end part of that, we are being told that he received a big share or a big chunk of the money that was allegedly paid. I mean, if Ntanzi received the whole 45,000, then how much of the money or the remaining amount was paid to the other accused? That's a red flag for me. It doesn't make any sense. Now, the majority of public in this country is critically aware that the 5 accused people didn't kill Senzo. Even Baloyi himself is fully aware of that. But what the public isn't aware of is that, I'm just allegedly, more than 200 million of rands has been extracted from the police slush fund in order to try to bury this case. That was back in 2019. A lot of people have been bribed in this case. And remember, in my opinion, I believe that this was a mere case of a culpable homicide, which has been turned into a very, very sophisticated case, peddled by a series of lies and fabrications, of which I believe that a high level of police and government officials were involved in those fabrications. And I mean, we are all wondering, like, what gives Geninda such powers without any consequence management? And I can tell you now, Emily and Mr. Anonymous, that behind Geninda, there's a very high level of political contingency that is shielding him and all the state witnesses, like your Cronjes, your Raphadus, your Mbothos and the likes. These guys are so protected. They are so protected, and I believe that they are fully aware of that. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't really risk their careers in such a high-profile case. I am not saying if Rata was part of the plan, that was hatched to bury this case. But then the biasness that he shows and the attitude that he gives to the defense, it gives those vibes. But I can tell you now without any uncertainty that these guys, there's a very high possibility for them to go down and to be convicted and be sentenced for this case. I am saying this because, the way the judge is behaving, for me, it's giving those vibes. It seems like there's a verdict somewhere that is awaiting to sort of, convict these guys. I feel like all that we see on TV, on our screens, these are just formalities. I feel like this thing was done and dusted a long time ago before it even started or before it even commenced for the public view. And as a matter of fact, it seems like these guys were supposed to be convicted and sentenced, during the lockdown without the public knowledge. And a lot of us were just going to read about, 5 guys that were convicted in media. And we were just going to carry on with our lives as if nothing happened. And in the end part of the day, we are talking about the life of a former national goalkeeper, a captain, a national captain that we're talking about. In my opinion, as I conclude, I believe that the shooter didn't mean to kill Senzo. He was just there to intimidate, the way I believe. But a mistake has happened. But in the end part of the day, somebody has to account for the death of Senzo.
Well said. The calls are open. That would mean, remember, we confine ourselves to what was deliberated today.
And if you're going to throw in allegations, state that it's an allegation, please.
So no naming of any other people here. Thank you very much. Zanzi, hello. No naming. It's not nice to hear myself. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Zanzi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's actually the first time I'm up at this hour in years.
Okay. Congrats.
Thank you, guys. And good morning, Emily, too.
Morning.
You know what? This is so embarrassing, guys. I do not understand why South Africa wants to embarrass itself like this. At a high court, Nokhal, I just don't get it. And also, I hate the fact that the question about clarification is very important. There are so many things I want to say, but I will I will just contain myself to a few.
Okay.
The questions and clarifications are important because you can't just say Carlos or Carlos did this. Carlos who? These are court documents.
Yes.
All identifiers should be put officially. I can't say Pumeva. There are many Pumevas. They could share a nickname. Who is Ngani? Is that person known as Ngani? And I want to know from Zulu speakers, can you, in the Zulu culture, can a younger man call an older man, an oldish type of their senior, by a nickname?
No.
See, that's why this whole thing doesn't make sense. Why would Ndanzi call us Nduli Ngani? Culturally, it doesn't make sense.
No, let me be fair with you. Now that I think about it, as in Zizo, we call each other vele with nicknames because kunobunsizo bese kuba no baba ke obvious baba, yeah. But like Nkani, for example, I can say Nkani because maybe igama lomsizo he got it from doing certain things. Maybe you are stubborn because Nkani is being stubborn.
Yeah, but my main issue is that you can't just throw like first names, Carlos, who is that? And automatically the public assigns Carlos to Mncube. And then someone else says Carlos Buthelezi. How does a Buthelezi become Mncube? Because in front of us, in the bench, a person who's seated there is Mtobi Mncube. Yes. We don't have someone officially known as Carlos. And also we have Simpiwe in Cronje's statement. Who is Simpiwe? When they do investigations, who do they follow up on? And also all of these incorrect naming of people, how do they align to Zungu? I've re-listened to Zungu actually. His whatever he was giving in court, because it was not a statement, still doesn't align with what Ndanzi gave to Cronje. Because Ndanzi says he went to Muzi's house, Muzi's hostel. He doesn't say he went to Gwabini.
Hostel.
Also, Ndanzi says we then moved. There I found Ndulu. He calls him Sifiso Ndulu. How does Sifiso Kuhle become Sifiso? Are they two different people? Are we talking about the same person? That remains to be seen. There's no clarity that was ever provided by neither the investigating officer or any other investigators involved. Okay, let me just stop there. There's so many things I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've raised some valid points.
Valid points. By the way, Emily, I saw the judgment. Was it a judgment or was it an announcement made to say that the judges that are retired are not going to be used? They should not be used. In fact, they should be cut. Cut them now. Thank you. Mzansi, hello.
Hi, Njani.
Sikhona njani?
Ngiyaphila.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, Wuti, if we remember, guys, from last week and what happened last week, we are being constantly reminded, Oguti, everything that Advocate therefore said in his time was true, was actually, we can see a lot of things playing out exactly the way he said them. So I'm now being led back to when he said, Oguti, there was an eyewitness who was in the house who was going to testify that the other lady who the deceased was dating is the one who accidentally shot the deceased. And then the second thing that he mentioned that a lot of people have forgotten, he said advocates that are sitting MPA against Ugeninda and other policemen. So Manje, where I'm sitting is that is it possible with Manje it's really everyone for himself everyone is trying to save their skin because now they are all implicated allegedly in some way or another, because now there's dockets that have their names on them. And if the lady did pull the trigger, they tried to protect her in the beginning, but now they realize we actually have to protect ourselves now. Now they're letting her take the fall for what she might have done in the beginning.
That's a good point. Good point. Very good.
Okay.
Thanks. It doesn't need an additional. Just like the video, guys. Like the video. I like the points that you guys are raising today. And someone is saying, okay. Zanzi, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
We're
good, sir. We're good.
I was saying, Mele.
Yebo.
She batlena. Wa bona mona ke mohlolo. O kila bona kae mochuchisa a nga case from lower court. I ka until high court. O sha hona ba chuchisa ba ba mo. Mona ke mohlolo mo o twile anda dona again are ne hona le 40 ya mafukisi a le kuwi.
Yeah.
So mona ka mora di 29 tsa May ka after election hona le mokgatlo do kena hona le more than 40 ya bo magistrata ba tshutshisi bo di lawyer ba tlo tshwarwa ba ya trongo. Ka case ena hobane case ena ba inkile sefe ke tendera nna ke ja bokae ke mothusa moholo nna ke ja bokae ke sebetse NPA nna ke ja bokae ke lawyer nna ke ja bokae ba sherana ka chelete ba etsa tendera lo tjena Senzo Meyiwa le ndatu ba hae ba puka lo tjena ba pukela ba ya trongo yetelele. Thank you ke Moses Mthombe nyakallo.
Thank you.
And saying that they are all gonna jail. According to the caller, they treated this case like a tender. Everyone is saying they want their share. NPA taking their share. Everyone's taking their share. So that's funny.
Adrongo.
As in they're going to jail. Well, we can only
hope and pray for such good news. Keep the call coming, guys. Please like the video. We still answer. We have WhatsApp and straight call. If you want to call directly to the number start which is 0711537006. That's the number, and the WhatsApp number is 0676190343. That's it. So someone was talking about, hey, Mr. Anonymous and Emily. In fact, Ntanzi said the man was wearing Izibu Amadimas. Oh, okay, that's an old one. It was actually reminding me Animal Farm. Guys, yes, here we go. First caller from WhatsApp. Zanzi, hello.
Hello.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Zanzi, really, hello.
Yes, sir. How are you? Probably
Hello.
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 Hi.
How are you guys?
We're good in yourself.
Good, man. Yeah. I've never been this confused since the start of this case.
Yeah.
I remember Emily today when she said wish.
I wish you wish.
Yes, wish. My confession. Maybe this judge thought he will find something in this confession. By the look of things, this judge is so frustrated by this confession because he's not getting what he was looking for. How can a magistrate write like a grade 7 learner can write better than that magistrate? I don't know what she was writing or anything. And you can see all these confessions nonsense. It eliminates from Zungu's statement. If you follow their case from the start and you understand what is contained on Zungu's statement, all these confessions emanate from that Zungu guy. That Zungu guy is the main character of this movie. Well, if serious, Mr. Anonymous, if you listen properly and then you connect the dots back to Zungu's statement, no, by the virtue of you listening to them reading this confession, the only thing you hear on the back of your mind, I only hear Zungu every time I listen to this confession. I don't hear Ndazi and Sbiya saying all these things, the guys that claim they were freely and willing to admit to. The only thing I hear from this confession is Zungu, all the way. Let's keep praying for Ndazi, guys. Thanks a lot. Ne?
Thank you.
I'm just confused now. I have no input. The only thing I hear is I only hear Zungu. Every time they are busy with this, you can hear on back of your mind, if you follow Zungu, first thing you will have is Zungu statement.
No.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you very much. Morning, guys. Libhlungu lelicala ngoba abantu abadala bakhuluma amanga ngoba badlile ngalelicala kepha bazawuthola umvuzo. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello. Hello. Right. Call us again. You were in. There you go. Mzansi, hello. Mzansi, hello.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, can you hear me? I'm good, man. How are you?
We're good.
Hello, Emily, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm good. You know, talking about today's proceedings, you know, I was very disappointed with Mr. Ramusipidi or Ramusipidi.
Yes.
I think the man is not putting enough effort to fight.
Yeah.
You know, like he's not putting enough effort to fight for Bonganintans, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if maybe he has given up or something. After what I saw, I was so disappointed with him today. And as for Mr. Mngomezulu, I think the only person that is really putting the fight there is Mngomezulu, especially since he's now focusing on this guy. What's this?
Muzi.
Sbiya.
Yes.
Yeah, Moses Sbiya is now putting a fight, and it shows that this man is now determined.
Yeah.
And as for Mr. Rata, you know, with those cases of pre-democracy, you know, that man is something else, you know. You can't be quoting case law of 1929 in 2024.
Yes.
I mean, most of those cases that is quoting, it's before the government of the people, or what do you call the government of the government of democracy. And most of those cases, they were designed. It was for white people against black people to oppress them. So I'm not sure. I'm also disappointed with with the JP. I mean, Mr. Dustin Lambo.
He's busy.
Sorry.
He's busy.
I'm very disappointed. You know.
Yeah, keeping him busy.
They're keeping him busy. Coming back to the case of Senzo, I think the first caller, the one who sent the voice note, said it means these guys initially, according to the plan of all these people, the likes of Gininda and everything, this case should have been concluded during 2020 when there was lockdown. But now the person who came and distracted the whole plan was Tifo.
Mm-hmm.
Tifo is the one who distracted everything.
Yeah.
You know, remember Tifo was doing interviews with media.
Yes.
Everybody was busy going to even, who's this other guy, that press conference. Remember that press conference in University of Pretoria with
John Clark.
With John J. Clark. I think that Tifo is the one who like the whole plan is the one who distracted it. Sort of like put Veiws on it because of, had it not been for him, I'm telling you, these guys could have long been sentenced without even the public knowledge. So Tifo is the one that kind of like distracted the plan. And then now, all these people, they are saving their skins. Or it's either they're saving their careers or they're saving themselves from going to jail.
Yeah.
Eventually, before they're trying by all means now to bury the truth.
Yeah.
Which is, they're not going to do it forever. Yes, they might succeed now, but eventually, they're not going to bury the truth forever. And others are going to go out of power in this case. And when they go out of power, it's going to be a problem for them, you know. Because of what you do now, there's no certainty that you're going to be protected up until. And so, and I just want to say again, it seems as if the sister of accused number 3 was right when he says, when he was putting in allegedly that apparently there's been more than 30 people who have been put in this case. Now there's many names that we don't know. Makimbi, Simpiwe, there's so many names. Marco, Priniselani Butelezi, all those people. And when I realize that now, like, there's been so many people who's been included in this case. And other people are also making money with this case. As they said, it's now a tender. People are now making money.
Yeah.
So, guys, let's see what will unfold on Wednesday. But there's still going to be more witnesses that are going to come and add lots and lots of lies. So, yeah. Sure, guys. Enjoy your evening or your morning.
Thank you for calling. Thank you for sharing your opinion.
Right, South Africans, are we serious that such a high-profile case can be centered around a policeman who took a state vehicle, a gun, and went to booze with friends, and all of a sudden was able to be in the company of all the 5 accused? Yay! Allegedly.
But is it not true though? Is it not true that it is centered around a police who decided not to work on that day, to go and drink Sila because of Zunku?
Nzanzi, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Zay, how are you?
Hello, morning.
Morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Definitely.
can hear you.
Okay, well, Mr. Anonymous.
All good, all
And
good.
Emily.
Hi.
Okay. So, I just want to say, if we go back, I remember when Zungu came, the Baloy and the judge, they have to fight for him because of that type statement. You have to go to KZN to look for some notes or receipts, whatever. But if it was a fair judge, he was going to say no, because you already said you wrote a statement with your handwriting. Let's forget about the typed statement. Testify from the bar without a statement. But the judge
he said it in court. He's a policeman. You know what is a statement. So if you watch this case, where they know this is their backbone, this is where they are going to catch this accused. They fight, even the judge. Look where we are today because of Zungu. We are here because of Zungu. And people are saying, why don't we, they don't arrest Kelly? No, the 5 guys, Gininda said it. It's because of Zungu, he arrested those 5 guys because of his testimony. Zungu never mentioned Kelly. So we are here with the 5 guys because of Zungu. So the judge fought for Zungu to testify with a typed statement. Okay, let's continue. The mistake which was in that typed statement, we find it in Dan's statement. That the one he did in Morocco, where he was saying what? Who's this accused number 4?
5. Is it 5?
The names.
Zoom.
Number 4.
Mapisa.
Mapisa with who? Mthokoziseni.
Mthokoziseni, yes.
With Mapisa. Do you remember that statement? Do you remember Mr. Anonymous?
Yes, I do.
So remember what they were doing with the judge. That time they were correcting. They were correcting names. No, here it was not supposed to be Mapisa. Here it was supposed to be someone. So because now the person who is who is Raphadu, you can't ask him because he just know. I wrote only what Ntanzi said. But if you look, the same mistake.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I want to go to Mrs. Cronje. We were supposed, Mrs. Cronje, she was supposed not to be allowed to testify. Once she recorded somebody illegally, but the judge fought to say, no, I made a ruling only for the audio, for the recording.
Correcting the mistake.
So we are here because of these 2 people, Cronje and Zungu. But what I want to say when I'm going forward is that, okay, Mr. Ramspeele can see that his client is a target here. Because remember, the judge once said, Ntanzi answered the question before an interpreter interpreted. But he was lying. Okay, he said, no, okay, it's okay. But he said, because Ntanzi said satisfied, he can speak English than judges. So why don't you can realize that Ntanzi is a target here.
Yes.
So Mr. Ramspeele is representing Ntanzi, a target man. But sometimes few questions, no follow-up, relaxing. But you can see that your client is a target here. So what I'm saying is that forget about Kelly. Forget about Kelly because she's not coming.
No.
Even if she comes, Gininda and Baloyi, they will rather have 2 guys arrested, sentenced, than rather than having 5 guys.
Yeah.
Because now, if you are, if without any evidence, other evidence, using Ntanzi and Sbiya's confession, if you going to sentence all those 5 accused, you must include Kelly.
Yes.
So Gininda and Baloyi will rather have these 2 guys because they said, no, we did it. Or, okay, you forget about Sbiya now because you can't sentence Sbiya because of a Saturday statement. We said, went there on Saturday, he's lying. So you can't, we remove Sbiya there.
Yeah.
And left with Ntanzi, who said, I was there on Sunday. You see?
Yes.
And you can't use his confession against other accused, unless you want to dribble like what we can see happen. But if you are fair, you can't use that because you have to have a proof that, okay, we find the DNA of my pizza, we find this or whatever, we have got this. But if you don't have other evidence, you can't say they were there. Because even Zungu can't put those guys because he was there in hostel. He never said, I went to that Spaza house.
No.
His evidence is there, far away from the crime scene.
Yes.
So Ntanzi is left alone. Ntanzi is left alone in this case. He's a target. Yes. And they are focusing him. That's what the judge is saying. No, you know English. Even the one, he said, no, I could see that Ntanzi can read and write. That one from Mroga.
The elementary school.
So, yeah. So, Ntanzi is a big target here. So, even if you sentence one person, Kenzo's case is closed.
Yeah.
Until if you're going to have appeals and what. But for now, Ntanzi is a main target. But what I can see now, Ramusipeli is relaxing. He can ask even one good question, but it doesn't have a follow-up. So, okay, my lord, what? Are you fighting? Or the money from legal aid is so sweet that you forget that you are working. We cannot talk about others. But Ramusipeli, look what Mngomezulu did today.
Yeah.
For Ntanzi. He's fighting for Ntanzi. It's not his client. Look what Mngomezulu did. He's fighting with the judge there for Ntanzi.
Yes.
But you can't even point 2, 3. Look, especially for that Moroka man. You should have asked more than 10 questions there. But Ramusipeli asking 2, 3 questions and done and no follow-ups, whatever. But you are fighting for your client.
It's like he doesn't care anymore.
So if you look these things, you have to know who is the target here. Ntanzi is the target man. So if you are relaxing, as Ramusipeli is relaxing, because this case can turn you, it's turning clever, experienced people to acting like a dumb person. But you are clever. When you came here, you said, no, I'm Mr. Ramusipeli, I will take you over. Take over now. You took over from Titi Tovan. Show us. But after a few months, you are going down.
Yeah.
Because it's turning some clever people. Some, they just run. We don't know where Munis was. We just, in a critical phase of a case, we said, maybe Munis will go and Mngomezulu will go. No, my lord, I won't be available. When he comes back, I didn't even have time to, you see? Because he's clever. If Munis can focus and do that, they know. But you have to take an excuse. I will not want to be there. Khumalo's doing the same. I don't have questions. My lady there, she's quiet. But Ramusipeli must fight for his client.
He must.
Because guys are going, I hate soapies because when you look soapies, if you are focused, even if you will already know that, Gabusile won't shoot those 3 ladies. If you watch soapies, you can know. If you are focused, you can. That's why I hate soapies, because if you are focused on what you are watching, even if it's not to happen, even you can see things before they happen. So this is what we're saying. Ntanzi is going down. Sbiya is going down. But if they don't get those 5 guys, Ntanzi will be left alone. Because Mngomezulu will fight for his client if he will still be there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I tried to articulate, but I
Hello,
failed.
Mr. Anonymous and Emily.
Yes.
To me, Mr. Anonymous, this case is very sad. And there's one thing that I want to make you people aware about. Our judge there, there are things that the judge would say, and I would wonder if this judge, does he even listen to himself? You remember, Mr. Anonymous, there was a time when he said to Mrs. Cronje that, I don't know, Mrs. Cronje wanted not to read something, and the judge said, no. When this case goes to SCA, they won't have these documents. This judge, by that on its own, is an indication that I've already taken a decision that these people are going down. The accused people, the defense, we can blame them that they are not doing this or that, but the decision has already been made here. And the judge is aware that it's going to be difficult for these defense lawyers to even appeal, because already some of them, they are getting paid through legal aid. So how are they going to appeal this case? So they know, so they are going to get these people convicted, because it's going to be difficult for them to appeal this case. So judge is saying a lot of hints. There was a time also where he was fighting with Advocate Mshololo, and the judge was like, no, I'm not in this nonsense of sending people to prison. What are you accusing me of? Don't ever accuse me of corruption and what? That on its own, nonsense of sending people to prison, underline that word. So it tells you that the decision has already been taken here, that these people are going to be found guilty, irrespective of what evidence is brought before the judge, irrespective of what are we thinking. These people are going down. They must just make peace with that. And all we need to do as South Africans is to hope that once this judge has found them guilty, there will be some lawyer who would stand up and say, I will appeal this case. I don't know if through SCA there's pro bono or whatever, just so that these people can get justice. Other than that, in this case, I know we are watching a movie here that will end in tears. Thank you, Mr. Arno and Emily.
Thank you. Like that, I think, Emily, this is the time for me to say, that's it. And again, we hear all the adverts. Elizabeth, we hear. I think some of us, we engage in a different way when we engage such things. That's why I said I confine this conversation to what is happening here. There are other avenues that we use. Mzansi, hello.
Hello, Mzansi. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm fine.
Yes.
You know, I've been following this case since it started. He was trying to give Kelly away from the beginning. Because who testified already. Kelly before Bagafita, over Asa Kunudula fast, over Mayema, he was out going up and down all the time. And then young who are below, and then Eba Ileha Kelly, Twala Barge Papa Twala Papa Longa Twala Dilaba Ofara Kelly, holiday abroad. But I know a vacation in the now. So not in a way he was trying to give Kelly away. But we are going to give out this case. If a verdict is already there, Basimana Bale, Ntanzi Gudugudu get target, and that man is going down. So I agree with maybe the previous caller or maybe Ramusabile. I'm drop it because just a question, but I did follow up. I've been watching him more. he's not doing enough Ramsepele. All along, oba ke thusa go hore oba ke bereka le Mngomezulu. So Mngomezulu is trying very hard because this is our so Mahabane, I was watching a interview ya advocate Tefu. Hello.
Yes.
We will let you speak, even though we said.
Okay, I only interview ya advocate Tefu. Elga itieleja. Le doodoro gur ugar batuba already. They have been bought. Baba lawyers jamushoba. Only an agreement according to Tefu. Interview yela gibegiti today. Marogar we deal I'm sure Mahabani. When we deal infotainment, bargimana bongani man. Ka infotainment. So utalusauri. The rest of the defense, excluding Mngomezulu.
Can we pause that part? Because you see what it's doing now, it's actually creating the commotion in this channel. That's why I said let us not engage in something outside of this, because what it does, it leads to speculations that at this point we cannot say for sure that those are this is the truth. I mean, these people are lawyers, they can sue us.
Yes, but I need to water again. Mche magajan kor. Ogari detectives jawona di change kama ata since utomile bargeni this trial within a trial. So nagoinchi all of them we don't have questions. No further questions, my lord. No further questions, my lord. Wakumana Lord, it is only Mngomezulu is asking questions. The rest, sometimes they are not even there in court. And more we are dealing kabupilo bamutu omwe. Kabupilo bantanzi. Yelungora anabali. That man is going down. Wawana no la ba admit anu the confessions jail gamula court. Ido boncha case ya guy. And from the beginning, Tanzi has been a target.
So we hear you.
Onyagaro but to send Tanzi. Akumane lawyer ya ujahabote. Bagwise the lawyer musho.
Yeah.
Of course we are got for and tefu. Uwabile matumu ngariza baje rasumutsebera barabona ngarte tefunyo ko pegager, but right now tomole more tefudu lo jaba kidi apa all along didn't need and le ane belo watalo saure and tefu since baile ba le more neti and again a distractile no case yewe uya akamkhubo bo bakinyaka retsama ya kaona ya tsama ya kaona bamutsweri. That man is in prison. I'm sure it's already in more than 9 months. He has been in prison, and our trial we are adding with Silo, but he is in prison.
Out of respect, I will let you slide on this one. It's okay. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because of this, I'm no longer going to be taking any calls. I'll pause here and I'll put a big allegedly. Guys, do not confuse these channels. This one is on the public issues, and we always, by all means, try to remind people that this channel is for this. Look, if we were to announce everything that we do on the site, email, and then who we talk to, how we talk to, do you think that would be good for us?
No.
No. So we're not ignoring anyone.
No.
No.
But
we work different. Let's put it like that. We work differently, and we're not discrediting other people.
No.
Go have this conversation with them on their platform.
Support
because
them
now
in that
what is
manner.
this is doing is contaminating our channel. And number 2, if we want to give shout outs, and we always do, we will give shout outs to people's channel. Those that we feel that in our opinion, and when we feel that we can resonate, we will give shout outs to those channels. We do not want to be in a circle that we don't want to be in.
And
we
without
plead.
being covered
And yes.
protected.
Do you understand? So we are saying these things that we say for a reason.
For a
now
reason.
I have to explain. It's because it's out of respect that I let the caller who was calling here to finish. Out of respect. But this should not be taken for granted, because we created this channel from the scratch for things that we do, and we would like to continue like that.
Yes.
We haven't been provoking people. We are not about to provoke people. We just think and say what we think on the basis of what is in public.
Yes, we
and
work
is
with
validated
information.
according to
Yes.
that. Do you understand?
With information that's
because if you are
already
going
in the
to
public, because
come with such, now you're going to need papers. Prove what you've just said. How do you prove it?
how?
How do you go on about trying to prove it now and say, okay, because of 1, 2, 3, this is what
Because
happened. This is what you
this
can see
person
how
said
the courts
it.
are operating.
They did not even say it on our platform. They said it in somebody else's platform. Now we have to speak like we understand what is going on, and we do not. Yabo. So should a lawsuit come or a cease and desist or something from the lawyers come, how are we going to fight that? Guys, think for us.
So people who started with us in this channel, they've been respecting us.
Yes, and
those
even the
who got
previous
away,
caller to this one, they've been speaking.
they're speaking in wriggles.
Yeah, speaking properly, speaking with allege, speaking with I'm speculating, speaking in a way that will protect the channel, because you don't want at the end of the day for the channel.
It does happen. You know, when you open the calls for long, then there is that thing that creeps in where people start saying
They're
things.
banning now.
Now they're
Go
banning the
to
police.
that person's platform and do that there. You are allowed to. Just do it there and do your thing.
This side.
But here,
This
I
is
would
what we
rather
do.
stay away from that,
This
because
is how
I
we do it.
don't have protection. Should anything, they wake up and they decide to sue, honey. Hey.
So if you are going to say big things, you must know that you have enough.
And you've got the receipts.
So
and you can
everything
back it
said
up.
here in this channel, it was alleged, and it is also, now we have to say that
It's
the
all
views
alleged.
of the caller. But we are not going to use that every time. We're doing that for now, and if it happens, then we're gonna be rude, because we're gonna have to drop you.
And to hang up, because hey guys, I don't want to be a part of that.
It get a man.
It does.
Where in the beginning you mentioned, I don't wanna go there, and then you get someone who drags
Who
you there.
goes exactly there, and then when we hang up, from now on we're gonna hang up. We're not even gonna play. You start
I see
mentioning-
people are calling.
We're
but I'm
gonna hang up. We're gonna drop you. You're gonna have to continue that conversation where you got those news, because we do not want to put our channel at jeopardy in a state that we no longer get to do this. This is cancelled. We don't want that. We want to continue doing it. That's why we are strictly asking you use public information. You use information that is verified, information that is there, that you have receipts of. Because if you start using allegations that are too robust, you're putting the channel at jeopardy.
calling people's name.
You're putting our lives in jeopardy.
So guys,
Now I won't
for
be
that,
able to go wherever I want to go. I'll always be
please
looking
like
over my
the video.
shoulder. Please think for me as well.
Please like the video. Let us end it here. The show is over.
Ay, let us cut. Kwaphela kumnandi. Thank you, caller. Bye. Guys, bye.